We must.
Whatever.
Hello and welcome to Midweek Gaming, number 53. We're back once again on this beautiful Wednesday in the UK. It's a very beautiful night tonight.
Why are you laughing at Beautiful Wednesday? I can say.
No one who's ever seen my face would ever say beautiful, trust me.
But yeah, welcome everyone. Thanks for popping in the chat. Crispy Bomb UK Daz. No. I seen that comment, Daz. That's why we pressed the live button. Is Stubbs going live or are you both doing your hair? No, definitely not that one. And yes, we're back once again. Just want to say shout outs to Spooky Sprocket. He's doing well. He's at home. He's I think he's back at home now.
He is.
And he's making progress, and he does exactly as the doctors say, and he's getting there, but he will get there in the end. But yes, it's a bit of a scary time for him and everyone else. Wasn't a good situation, but he seems doing good so far. So it's good news, Spooky. So keep fighting, keep doing as the doctor says, and you'll get there. You will. Welcome, Shizno Elite, Masuku, Muppet. Thanks for popping in. This week we've got a gamer on with loads of hair like myself, and he's actually called It's actually called BaldmanGamer. How are you doing?
Greetings and salutations to all. Thank you for having me once again. It's been a while, but yeah, happy to be here. Hopefully, with these awesome topics, we can get a bit of spiciness going tonight. But yeah, glad to be here.
Definitely spice. We always talk about spice in the Green Pass Gaming chat, and he's asking, "Are you coming? We need some spice."
I keep pushing you. I do.
Yeah. Oh no, this man was saying Sonic needs to die the other week. He was really ramping it up.
Yes, I think I upset a few people with that comment and the picture of Mario decapitating Sonic on Twitter. I don't think that went down too well.
Well, was that? You pleased, Assassin Looper? She liked that. She did.
Yeah, don't mention the blue hedgehog in front of Looper. She doesn't like him, does she?
No, she don't. I actually tagged her in it, saying with that picture saying, "You'll make Assassin Looper proud," and she actually replied.
It's because you know what it is. It's because she's outgrown the blue tattoo on her butt cheek. That's what it is.
Wow.
No, I don't think it's that.
Interesting. Interesting too.
I'd slap you. She would.
Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna be dead.
Rest in peace.
She lived in the same country you do. She can get to you. Okay.
That's the problem. I keep forgetting it. Yeah.
She can and she will.
It's Timmy. Welcome. Thanks for stopping in. Have you been playing many games, BaldmanGamer? BMG.
Yeah. Actually, I've been flicking between a few things. Actually, not so much on the Xbox side, which is probably going to get me a bit of scolding. But it's just a bit of change. Yeah, a bit of change of pace because my lovely wife did buy me the PlayStation 5, so I've got a few games there. But I've been rocking out a bit of Deathloop. Not my kind of game. It's very much like Dishonored, but with guns. Not really my thing. Death Stranding. I'm just making my way through that very slowly. It's very confusing indeed. I've just completed.
Luke talk you into playing that. Luke Steele talk you into playing that, did he?
He did. I do like Kojima games. They just mess with your head. It's one of them. You've just kind of got to go with the flow and just think whatever he does, just go with it. And I've just finished Horizon Zero Dawn. Good game. Was a bit iffy on it, but I thought, hell, got it on the sale, £6.39. Why not?
Wow,
pick that up.
Well, talk about good timing for that, eh?
Oh yeah, very good. and got the Uncharted collection and just starting the Uncharted 1. So that's pretty much where I'm at the moment.
Oh, you've been playing loads of games, then you have.
But still need to check out Rainbow Six Extraction. But I've been told, unless you've actually got a group to play with, don't bother, because randoms just run off. So well, I'm hanging fire for that.
Fair enough. I've been playing loads of games. That's all good. So, VJ, how are you this week?
I'm all right, thanks. Thanks for having me on the show.
Good to hear. Are you still playing Final Fantasy?
No, I just completed that last night, actually, Final Fantasy 13, and
Nice.
it's just I know it's an Xbox 360 game. I know it's a pretty old title, but just the creativity, the imagination, and even the CGI cutscenes are still. I was really surprised. They're just still head and shoulders above most games released in the last 10 to 12 years. It's phenomenal, really, in that aspect. And I just, what did I start after that? I've just started Hitman 3. So just going to see how I get on with that.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Have you literally just started it?
Yeah, I've just done the, is it like an opening VR mission or something like that? The test missions. So I've just finished those. And I'm just about to do the final test before I start the full game. I wasn't sure whether to play Hitman 1 and 2 first. I think I'll just dive into 3 and see how that goes.
Yeah, the training bit you do at the start of 3 is pretty much what you do in the others anyway. So it's literally the same thing. But all I'll say is second mission is the best, and you'll find out why.
Second mission? Oh, okay, sure. I just that obviously it's Hitman 3, right? Not number 1 and not number 2. So
no, Hitman 3.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Hitman 3 second mission. I've done all 3, played them when they come out, completed them, but number 3 is the best. It just looks beautiful. Great. Yeah,
because they're all available in Game Pass, but I don't know if I've got the stamina to play through all 3 games and nothing else. So I thought I'd just play 3 and then get on with something else, because they've also got Death's Door in Game Pass, which I'd really like to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might have mentioned last week, it was they got Final Fantasy 13 Part 2 as well in Game Pass. So I'm not sure if I'll play it or not, but we'll see. We'll see how we get on with a Hitman.
Yeah, I've never been able to get on with Hitman games.
I thought you started in the movie.
Well, the second mission might be a bit of a spoiler, but RemovableSanity is in the game. That's why BMG was saying it's the best mission. It's taken.
I'm not saying anything.
No, I'm not saying any more than that, but you'll understand why when you get there. It's just fun. It's just pure fun.
But it's a patience game, VJ, so you'd be very good at that. You will be got a lot of patience compared to myself.
There you go.
Thanks for coming. Oh no, Marcus Fiend. Well, he's going to be coming up in a bit. He is.
Oh, that old bloke.
What, you've got him on the chat, have you?
He's popping down for a brew.
Yeah.
Oh, at least he is that the this time. Last time it was that guy's dad. In the game, that guy's dad, you called him. I couldn't believe it when he said that. Disrespect, I was like. So, RemovableSanity, how you doing?
Hello. I'm doing very well, thank you very much. I've been working hard and doing some few reviews, and found my first, I'd say, must-own indie game review of the year. So I'm very happy about that. Just finishing off the last sort of touches on the actual review now, and then it'll be the editing process, which I'm sure all the creators out there who do editing know how enjoyable that is.
Best part of it.
Yours is slightly different to everyone else's because you do yours on mobile and tablet, so it's slightly different to most people's.
Yeah. I would say I've probably got a little couple of more hoops to play with, but it's just I think the general principles are still there for everybody, regardless whether you're on mobile devices or heavy duty, PC software. It's the transitions, the cuts, the editing, the rendering. Oh, it's a joyous part
It's got
of
to be a bit
creating
quicker on your
content.
phone, though. It's got to be a bit quicker.
It depends. Depends on what it is, and it also depends on the cuts, the transitions, whether you do it in 4K, whether you do it in 60 or 30 frames per second. It depends on what it is and how long it is as well. It's I think mine typically, as my reviews typically go about 15-20 minutes. They render around about 40 minutes, but that's at 1080p. I mean, whack that into 4K, and Jesus, it'd probably be about 4 hours, and the rest probably.
Yeah. But I'll be interested to see that review, because what you said there, you called it a game of the year contender.
No, it's not game of the year. No, I'm very careful with my words. This one is my must own. So it's like a must own purchase, I think. Yeah, it's one of the ones that I think it's a game that I think will appeal to a lot of people. And it's a surprise. It's actually quite a bit of a surprise. I was not expecting it, how well it plays out. And ironically, the fact BaldmanGamer picked up, he was mentioning Hideo Kojima, I would say it has a slight resemblance to Hideo Kojima's Snatcher. So if you played that game, you'll know roughly what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to say any more from that. I'll leave it until it's all done.
I think you've got enough people intrigued about your video now to get them clicks.
That, and he does his reviews topless. If you weren't intrigued before,
yeah, it's true.
Exactly.
Yeah. If my sub count's now dropping dramatically now, it's on that just alone, it's like I'll get there and be like minus 20, and it's like, oh, okay.
So,
Oh god, thanks, Cerebral. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Cerebral,
Do the channel before it's even removed.
Welcome. How are you, Cerebral?
I am doing good. Let's see. I finished Mass Effect 3 yesterday, or was it either yesterday or the day before yesterday? And
Which choice?
I streamed my entire playthrough.
Remove.
And
sorry, I didn't appreciate that you hadn't done it yet. Sorry.
yeah. So
It's fine. I heard nothing.
also, I have a question. Does the S on your emblem there, Baldman, stand for shiny, or what are we talking about here?
Super bold.
Super bold. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. And I started just for fun and leading up to the April release of Lego: The Skywalker Saga. I have decided to start playing. I hadn't played it before. Lego Harry Potter. I started that yesterday. And I actually got
not
dinged
easy,
on
is
Facebook. It? No, it's not. And I actually got dinged on Facebook for the Harry Potter theme, so I have to remember to turn the music off.
Oh wow, really? Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The funny, YouTube and Twitch haven't said anything, but Facebook muted part of my video because the theme was there. I tried. I did try Death's Door because I've heard so many good things about it. Yeah, I ain't playing that game ever.
It's not easy.
No,
Not easy at all.
and
It's
it's got
quite
like
difficult.
no accessibility options, no control options. So, yeah, that's not happening. That's in the same realm of Cuphead for me. Not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it's one that I cannot play.
That's fair enough.
But I did try because that's what I like about Game Pass is that I can try games without wasting money, basically. Buying it, going, yeah, this looks really good, and playing it for 5 minutes and going,
Crap.
can't play. Yeah, that's exactly right. Which back in the bad old days caught me more than once.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be, I'm Harry Potter's long enough that I'll be doing it both on stream and off, mostly on. But yeah, that's going to be my game du jour right now, except for when we're doing community game nights or when I'm with other people. So that's
Just
where
to
I'm
cut
at.
for you, Paul. Just a quick question. You've just kicked a little bit of an intrigue for me. Would you? I mean, I can't remember where it is, but does the games on Game Pass come up with an accessibility tag to make it easier to identify what accessibility is available? And if not, is that something that I think you would be appreciative for?
They started to tag the games now. If you look at them, they started in October. They launched their initiative, and if you look at the games, they now list if their accessibility and which accessibilities they cater to, and it's not a complete thing by any means. But yeah, they've started to label a lot of their games under accessibility. In fact, there's a subheading in the store, I believe, in Game Pass for accessibility.
Yep. No, that's one of the reasons I did. I spotted it, and that's why I was like, and you said you tried Doors thing, but I was like, I'm wondering if you actually just dive into a game, or do you actually filter? Do you actually look at some of the games under that accessibility option?
I don't filter because I mean,
well, we know that. We're talking about the gaming here.
Shut up. Go put a shirt on. Be quiet.
God.
No, I don't tend to. I mean, I don't go looking for games that are either accessible or not. I just try whatever looks interesting. Especially being in the circle of that we all have, and it's a big circle getting bigger every day. There's always this talk about what game is great, what game is, and I want to try those games regardless of accessibility, because then I can come back and say whether it is or whether it isn't, whether they need to work on it, and I think that's kind of the little niche I've kind of picked up. So.
No, fair enough. That's good to know.
Yeah.
It is. Definitely. It is.
In fact, I'm going to be doing, in a few weeks, I'm going to be doing a one-on-one with Ains from Seasoned Gaming about accessibility in gaming.
Yes.
And
fantastic.
Everybody know when that hits, yeah. And we're going to talk in depth about all those different aspects of that. So
That'd be really interesting. That will.
Yeah, part of the reason I brought it up to him, and I did bring it up to him, is we're coming up on, for those that might be interested, whether you're disabled or not, the Microsoft Accessibility Summit is coming up in March. Yeah, and
That's
so they're going to be...
Middle of March or end?
Beginning, actually.
Oh, okay. I was way out then, Jesus.
Yeah. And but the sign-ups are already there if you're interested, and it's free, so you can just go and sit through some of the stuff and listen to what Microsoft has been it will be working on. And I mentioned to him that, and I've mentioned here before, I want accessibility to become an everyday discussion, not a once or twice a year special event discussion. And until that happens, we're still going to run into these games that, like, what was it that they released on PlayStation that had like no accessibility? Deathloop, which is a Microsoft game now, but it had no accessibility. So we're hoping that's one of the last of that breed to come out of Microsoft,
But is that something they could easily fix, do you think, with some particular options?
It depends on the coding.
Obviously, it depends on the different game, different genre, different type, but is it something, do you think it's something retroactively you could amend into it?
Again, it depends on how it's coded. It really does. It depends on how the game is built. Sometimes some of that stuff needs to be considered from the get-go, from the drawing board, because you can't easily just slap new controls on it or slap new limitations on it without tearing the game apart. Which, if they want to take the time to do that, that's cool, but I don't always expect that either. Like even with Mass Effect 3, there were some sequences. If you watch my stream, you watch me get very frustrated with a few of the sequences because there's no accessibility, but I have to remind myself, this game is, 10 years old. This game is 20 years old. It's not going to meet the requirements that are met today,
No, but saying that, and that does kind of bring up a nice particular question, is that generally there's games that are remastered, remade. To a degree, they can do something. If it's remade, they obviously can bake that in. Remastered, obviously you're stuck with the limited code that's already there, but still there is some things you can do in terms of just visual in some cases,
With Mass Effect, they did redo the controls. Remember, they redid the Mako controls as well as a few other things.
That's right, yeah.
So some of that is doable. So it's just a matter of normalizing that discussion. Again, that's what my big focus is right now, is normalizing that discussion, even talking to the developers or talking to Microsoft or whoever, You know, and I do try to do that. I don't know if you ever noticed. I try to, if I'm discussing a game, I try to tag the developer in the game to say in the tweet or whatever to say, hey, this is something that came up that you may or may not be aware of. You know,
Mm.
and hopefully some of them will take heart of it. I know Microsoft does because they've reached out to me. So so it's always a good start. So
Yep.
It is. It's a good thing.
now that
It
I've
is.
taken over the show.
No,
Yes.
it's a good. It's
Oh.
an interesting. It's a noteworthy point, to be honest. That
Yeah.
you're pushing it, and it's a thing that hopefully, when developers make games, obviously, depending on budget, etc. Hope even indie games include what they can. They can't obviously go, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because obviously it's obviously a budget cost as well. But if it's cost effective for indie developers, then they will put it in. Obviously.
Right, and Microsoft is always adding to their list of here's the things we expect to see in your game as far as accessibility goes.
Oh, that's interesting.
They have an entire list that I can actually find a link to at some point. And
Well,
Well, that's
share it
good.
with you
That's
next
good
week.
for the bigger budgets. That's probably not so good for the more indie singular dev titles.
Well, no, it depends because if it's control schemes and change you know and things
Yes,
that
that
you
can
can
Remapping.
personalize
Yeah, is a-
remapping.
yep,
That's stuff
yep.
they can do. You know,
Yeah, they could do that. They could.
but yeah, some of the other
Yeah.
stuff it shouldn't be expected. But you want to try to make as many games playable by as many people as possible. Like sight restricted people or blind people have issues with Destiny and the likes of that because the way the menus work, where you just kind of move your pointer and you click on it, there's no
Oh, yeah.
indicator when you're over the menu choice, so they have no idea where they are on the screen.
Mm.
Okay.
And that
Yeah,
stuff, that's the
okay.
kind of stuff they need to work on that a lot of people don't think about.
Well, they got the money. They should be able to fix.
Yeah.
They should be able to do something there, shouldn't they? They've got no excuses, really.
Well, no, that's why I keep saying they need to reach out and speak to people like me, speak to people like Sightless Gamer. What do you need? What helps? What, you know? And because we're the ones who can tell them where we could get the best additional assistance in being able to play their games.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's just a matter of if it's a really
Yeah.
hard action sequence, after 5 fails, give us the option to skip the damn part. Get on with the story.
Yeah.
Mm.
Seriously, that's a legitimate option in some games.
And what's the good thing is once they've got that list, whether or not, don't get me wrong, that list, that in-depth list can be passed to everybody, and
Yeah.
then it's obviously up to the developers of where they can, you know, depending on budget
Yep.
or depending on time, in some cases,
And-
put as much
and
of those in
yeah.
early on.
Yep. And as far as I'm concerned, even like if you're working at a studio that goes by that list, but you move to a smaller studio or a different studio and they don't, you can say, hey, you know,
Well,
I
here's
just
that
worked on
list.
this game and we did this. Why don't we do
Yep.
some of this here too? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's how, you know, it'll spread, you know, a little bit of word of mouth, a little bit of, not because they have to, but because they want to. Like the guy who did Psychonauts 2. All that stuff is in there because he wanted it in there. He wanted us to be able to play the game.
That's
Yeah.
true. That is.
Tim Schafer, was it?
Yeah, Tim Schafer.
That's it,
Yeah.
Tim Schafer.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's all good. Progress.
Yep.
Progress. Hello, Animated Evil. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I promise not to have a introduction like Paul did. That was huge, dude. Well done.
I said I was sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm just messing. It's okay. Yeah, great to be here. Are we still here? Yeah, we're still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Still alive, yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be a lot more loquacious than I was last week. Last week, I just felt absolutely terrible. The entire show, I just couldn't focus on much. But yeah, I'll be a little bit more chatty, shall we say, this time out. Thanks for having me back yet again. And it's great to have BaldmanGamer with us as well today. Hello, sir.
It is.
Oh, hello there. Yes, glad to be here. Glad to be here. Let's see where this show's gonna go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So there was some Star Wars news, and I know we might get some hot takes from Paul because he mentioned something in the DMs about it.
That's the one.
I'm
That's the one I couldn't remember. Yeah, that's...
I'm reading about the Star Wars here, and it's a bit the article. When you read it, it clicks in that says that there's 3 new Star Wars games coming from EA. But then when you go on the article, it just mentions that they're making a new FPS game that's Star Wars based. So I don't. So they are making an FPS game, but where's the 3 games? It doesn't say. Is that just clickbait?
They're doing a third person person carry on a Jedi game, an FPS, and a strategy game.
And a strategy game, yes.
Yeah.
They're covering all the bases.
And one of them is only going to be overseen by the studio that did Fallen Order and not actually worked on day to day by them. That's what the article said. The article actually said that. If you want me to go ahead and give my little shtick right now, I will.
Come on, spice.
My fear is, again, even though they were strong enough to stand up against the EA before, why the hell is all of this coming out of EA when we know EA? I don't like what they do. Hopefully they won't try to nickel and dime us to death again. They didn't do it with Fallen Order, not because they didn't want to, but because Respawn. It was Respawn, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
The Respawn stood up and said, "No, that's not happening." And EA backed off. And now it's going to be interesting because hopefully they're not just doing 3 Star Wars titles as a money grab, because they no longer have exclusivity rights to the Star Wars name. There are other games being worked on by other studios, including some Microsoft studios, that are Star Wars based. We're going to see a lot of Star Wars over the next few years, I think. And hopefully it's not just a money grab, because everybody knows, I've been guilty of it too. If the game says Star Wars, I buy it day one.
Yeah.
And if it ends up being shit, I basically eat that $50-$60 or whatever it was. Because I've been caught by that. Most Star Wars gaming fans have. Because most Star Wars games are absolute crap. I'm not saying all, but we can look back at the history and go, yeah, not good. Yeah, not good. Really not good.
The EA deal that expires 2023, where the contract actually finishes, because they had a 10-year deal, didn't they?
I believe so. Even though the other studios have already started working on new titles, because that way, as soon as that contract is up, they can start releasing the stuff. We know there's a bounty hunter game coming up. We don't know much about it. We're hoping it's 1313, which was talked about years ago, that EA kind of closed the door on. Because that could easily be made into a Mandalorian or a game, because it was kind of built that way to begin with. So some of us have our hopes for that, but I just hope EA doesn't screw this up, that it's not just throwing shit at the door and see what happens.
I think that's the reason the contract's ending as well. I think that's why they're pushing 3 out all at once. With EA, if they still had the contract, these would be spread out sporadically, just to keep us interested. This is why they're pushing all 3 right now. And
so that would make it partially a money grab. That would make it
absolutely, because obviously after the contract's gone, they can no longer be making them. Maybe I don't. I'm guessing, but that's probably why they're doing 3 right now.
I did like the part of the article the part of the article that says about the great working relationship LucasArts has had with EA, and I'm like, wait, what? When did this happen?
They lost the contract.
Did I sleep through that?
That's what's called poetic license in that article.
That's what that is. Yeah.
But surely, thinking about it logically, whoever is designing these games, that's a death knell. If they are, as you said, going to go down this money grab path, that's a death knell, whoever works in these games, because EA will be out, but people will remember who worked on the game still.
Yeah.
And if you've got a small studio, that could break your studio if it doesn't get received well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you, Luke Steele. That's the game I was thinking of. Yeah. Bit Reactor. And they're working with guidance from the bigger developer, which is cool. And I personally like the XCOM type Civilization games. If they do a Star Wars game like that, that could be really cool. I don't want a game that's like was it Gears Tactics and stuff. Yeah, Gears Tactics was okay, but I don't want that in Star Wars. I would prefer a Civilization type game. But like I said, I will try whatever it is. It could be Star Wars Tiddlywinks, and I'm like, day one, I'm there. Pre-order, you know.
I mean, the good news is as well. I mean, look at what they're doing with the Star Wars licensing right now with the TV shows, like your Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. There's so much scope to not just do a typical Star Wars game, but actually branch out into different things.
Yeah,
like they are doing with Star Wars itself, which is I think that's a brilliant thing. It's a great idea to branch out on somebody that not every Star Wars fan knows about. I mean, we all know who Boba Fett is, but
the hidden characters are the supporting characters that are there that everyone knows of, but hasn't probably understood their lore or background for.
Yeah,
right
exactly
for
Greedo before he shot first.
It's stuff like that. There is so much there that can be, the Jedi Order, the Jedi Academy, in-depth different trainers. There's so much there for it. It's just ripe for creativity. But as you said, a Star Wars fan, we've been burnt quite a few times like this, and so you have to be, I guess, a little bit pessimistic.
Well, like we know they're not doing a Battlefront 3. Okay, that's a given. But they are working on a new FPS. Okay, hopefully this FPS is going to be story driven and not just another Star Wars battle royale run around and shoot.
Well, that could go down the bounty route again, couldn't it? Because they did an FPS bounty game. They could easily do. There is so many places they could go with this.
And hopefully they do. We know one of the games is supposed to take place, I think, 150, 200 years before the Luke and Leia thing and all that stuff, and before the, basically the
Wookiee civilization being built from the ground up. There's so much there that could easily be tapped in.
Yep.
There is, there's so much there that could easily be tapped into. Even just depending on different planets and their civilizations there. It's easy to be tapped in.
Most Star Wars fans would want it to at least touch on the Force users, the Jedi or the Sith or the histories thereof. There's so much to go off of. Because if it was just here's Alderaan before they did anything, and basically you're like, okay, that's kind of, we know what's going to happen to Alderaan. We don't need to watch them build up their civilization.
But the irony is, it's something like EA would do, though, isn't it? That's the sort of thing. It's like that would you think, oh god, what's the laziest thing we could possibly create? Oh yeah, Alderaan 5 minutes before we found out what happened. Yay!
No matter how well you play the game, at the end it blows up. Well,
unique ending. You'll never know what it's going to be. Oh god, the what if ending. What if it didn't happen?
Ewok story. There we go.
Oh god, yes, yeah.
Well,
actually, they did two films, so we know what happened with the Ewok story.
Civilization. You start with the Ewoks and build your way up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we had that Anthony Daniels. There was a sort of tweet earlier today. He's actually doing motion capture for a Star Wars project.
Oh,
game.
Nice.
So kind of gives you, if that's for like one of the third person games, it could be around the time where Darth Vader and all that, or modern, because he's still kicking about.
At his age, it's going to be C-3PO has arthritis. Okay.
Just sits there, don't move.
C-3PO in a scooter. Okay, well.
Oh, that'll be right. I'll do. Put him on skates. Just wheel him around.
It could be very easily. It could just be the talking head. Oh, look, he's actually been dismantled again.
Yeah.
We'll just move the head around, and that's one of the part of the actual.
Head in a backpack. It's fine.
Yeah. See. Yeah.
Well, they actually did a strategy type game, Star Wars, years and years ago. What was it? Star Wars Empire at War.
Oh, I loved Empire at War. It was all right. I mean,
never got a second one. That could be the strategy game that's sort of going down. Could go that sort of route. That'd be good. Unlike for your FPS, I'd like a linear one with the Bad Batch from the Clone Wars show. That'd be good. That'd be good. Something like that.
I would like to see Grand Admiral Thrawn in a very well put together story game, because there's so much to his story from the books that they've now made canon again in the TV shows especially. But there's so much they could pull from the EU that would make great games.
Yeah. I'd love them to port Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, to console. Absolutely love that game. Are they?
Aren't they? I'm sure. Wasn't it getting a remaster or something? Or so, was it on PlayStation? It's been done.
No.
I think of something else.
The MMO.
Ah, right. Sorry.
Yeah. No, not Knights.
That's
of
what
the
I'm getting wrong.
Republic,
Yeah.
Not
Knights of the Old Republic, but you're talking about. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. That would be quite cool as console. It's doable. But I'd sooner have that, or because there's that new Star Wars show coming out soon, isn't there? With Kenobi.
Yeah, Kenobi comes out in a few months. They're probably gonna wait till Boba Fett's done. It's probably Disney, if they're smart, they're gonna start rolling those things out just one after the other. There's gonna be very little overlap to keep you subscribed.
Yeah, definitely. But
See, I've not watched
that. I'd sooner have Titanfall 3.
I've not seen the Book of Boba Fett yet. I did love The Mandalorian. As soon as Boba Fett is out completely, I'll binge it, because I do like a good binge rather than bit by bit. I've not seen it yet, but I am looking forward to it. And you're right, Paul. If they can just keep doing exactly those kind of things,
right,
they're going to keep us hooked for years and years and years to come. Because the lore in there is absolutely it's tremendous, isn't it? It's huge.
Yep. And
I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I do like it. I do like the shows that they're bringing out.
And the one thing that Fallen Jedi did, it showed us, which we haven't seen a lot of outside of the movie, when they issued Order 66 or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't it Battlefront the original?
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say the original Battlefront 2 did pick up the story 66, a part of the 66 story, didn't it?
It's been so long since I played that I don't.
I'm sure the original Battlefront 2, because I think you follow the clone troopers, and you're part and parcel as you follow some of the individual Jedi around as they're doing individual missions, and you see it when it happens to the Order, and in some cases where they're on different planets, and some of them I can't think of the name now. I'm sure one of the missions is actually taking out the Jedi, or the Jedi that you've been following around.
Probably.
So there is, I'm sure at least one or two characters have been picked up early on previously.
There was one thing they've dropped out of the canon that really ticks a lot of us off, and that's Mara Jade, who was a hand of the Emperor, and later became Luke Skywalker's wife, and she was just an incredible character. It'd be nice to see them wrap back around and do a game with her. Because all that stuff was cool. I've read almost all of the expanded universe stuff when it first came out. So I was kind of bummed when they dropped it all and said, nope, none of that ever happened. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I mean, some of the stories were crap, but some of them were really, really good. Anything that was done around, like I said, around Thawne and that Timothy Zahn wrote, or it's just amazing stories.
Yep. Did they? I mean, I was a fan of the Black Stormtroopers, but I think they're still cut from the lore.
Not sure. Actually, I am not going to spoil who it is, but there is somebody that only showed up in the comics and in the books that shows up in Boba Fett that everybody was really thrilled to see, and he's a really cool character. Yeah. So, yeah, somebody needs to catch up on Book of Boba Fett so we can talk about it someday.
You're okay. You won't spoil it to me. It's fine. You know me, behind the times all the time, Paul. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be cool to
We're in the UK. We get it 3 years behind you.
Yeah. It's okay. Animated still complains when I remind him that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. It's like, spoiler!
Right, now I know he has a dad. Oh, spoiler alert. Fuck.
What? Wow. He was?
Didn't see that coming.
But yeah, I just hope,
Damn
and like I've used the term before, I hope EA doesn't EA this up. So, times 3. Yeah.
But would they dare after the spanking they got from Disney for Battlefront 2?
Yes,
Because they had to
because it's
in.
EA.
Yeah, but
It's the we're
Disney
losing the
step in.
contract, so screw you. Here's a microtransaction up the wazoo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. It's actually, it could be a microtransaction game. Yeah, you play as a Jedi microtransaction looking for his microtransaction.
An FT, looking for the NFT.
But thing is, though, aren't Disney are quite strict with the Star Wars
The
IP
licensing.
anyway? So they've kind of got to run everything through them, story, characters, and to make sure nothing clashes or anything. So surely,
Yeah, but if they can get away with the shit show that was Battlefront 2 when it first launched, clearly someone in Disney was lacking on the check-in front.
intern was in that day.
or basically it was like, oh, we could make a little bit of extra money here. Yeah, let's just happen to, there was a slight cut maybe involved. And they went, yeah, okay, we'll let it happen.
Well, and it may have been the public response that got Disney's attention. Oh shit, we can't let
It
that
was.
happen.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Just do a few shout outs because loads of people came into the chat. Welcome, Dreadpool, and I think Assassin Lupus Spidey ears are out because she's joined the chat and she's here.
She's coming for
I'm
you
saying
guys.
nothing.
She's coming for you.
Coming for you, Removable. She's coming for you. And also, welcome to Indie Gamer, Stinking Corpse, Xbox North. Thanks for popping in. It's good to see you all.
Dreadpool.
And Dreadpool. And
He said
VJ,
Dreadpool.
are you just like me and know nothing about Star Wars or what they're on about? I was completely lost, Star Wars.
I'm probably. I was just listening to Animated Eva and Paul. Not much else I could do actually. I think I'm like Animated Eva. I'm not on a sort of someone who's sort of overly attached or fixated or a hardcore fan or a mainstay admirer of Star Wars or its universe per se. But I do like the shows, etc. But just as you guys were talking about, the different Star Wars games for the past, I just remember, you guys know Slow Mo Backslap, right? So,
Yeah.
and he talks about Knights of the Old Republic all the time.
Oh yeah.
One of his most favorite games. So, when I can't remember exactly when we saw the trailer for the remake for the Knights of the Old Republic, and I mean, I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but it was purely down to its origins and its links to sort of Obsidian and BioWare, having created and developed the original. And I hope I've sort of depicted that fact accurately or correctly. But I kind of, I can't remember, this must be an old game now, right? It must be around 20 years old or something. But many say it's a masterpiece, right? And I missed out on it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm glad that it's coming around again, and hopefully I'll get to play it. And I know it's coming for PlayStation, but I really hope it pops up on the Xbox Series X at some point. But both studios have burgeoning talent, at the time, well, especially at the time, right, 20 years ago, right? They were both basically sort of coming into their pomp at the time. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to that game. And Obsidian obviously gets a special mention because it's always been revered, admired, and coveted, right? I don't think Take-Two have sort of really played their cards right there, but we've talked about that on this show before, and Obsidian have obviously hence been purchased by Microsoft. So, and then I think something Paul was mentioning about EA, right? And what they seem to do with external IPs as well as sort of internal IPs. I like the phrase he uses, sort of EA them. But looking at it a little bit closer, sort of post Infinity Ward, you have to sort of, I mean, I'm not sort of well versed in this, but you'd have to sort of tip your hat to Respawn and what I forget the gentleman's first name. I just remember his surname, Zampella, Mr. Zampella, and what he's done for EA.
Vince.
Yeah. And how he sort of, I don't know, you just read sort of bits and pieces here and there, right, on occasion, right? And he seemed to be somebody that sort of climbed the ranks and sort of somebody that's perhaps more heeded and respected as a voice within the company. So and Jedi Fallen Order, I was kind of thinking about playing it, and then I think it was Assassin Looper and definitely Mr. Tucci that said, look, definitely go and get it, or play it, right? And it was obviously sitting there in Game Pass, and Jedi Fallen Order 2 is probably a good shout, right, as the third person. As a third-person title, right, out of the three that's in production,
It'd be silly not to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I can only look to the original Jedi Fallen Order, right, as a baseline or benchmark as to what Zampella and Respawn will do, with all these three games, under their sort of umbrella or purview, if you like, and it was a decent title, which I wouldn't normally have played, let alone purchase, right? However, given sort of what EA plays inclusion in Game Pass, as Paul was mentioning, it sort of sits there sort of invitingly, right, ready to download and take for a spin, and that's exactly what I did, right? That's the strength and power and initiative and the effectiveness of Game Pass, right? I should definitely be getting paid here, like $1 an hour or so from Microsoft for my wording for me. But I played Jedi Fallen Order primarily to see how the director, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Stig Asmussen, right? But I'm a big God of War fan, and he was the director of God of War 3. So I really wanted to see how he would fare in a new studio once he'd left Sony Santa Monica. And again, to Paul's point, in terms of how EA operate, right? And I know it's kind of purported, but I know from experience that they do inflict, when they get a new IP and when they pay for it, there's time constraints and in which the game had to be developed and released, and you have to couple that with coming to grips with the new engine and moving across from California across the Lord knows where Respawn is, but it's not in California, I'm pretty sure, but maybe I might be completely wrong. And then again, with the new engine, a new team in tow, it's a pretty arduous task. So if you're looking at Fallen Order, what I'm trying to say is that if you look at the end result, it's pretty encouraging, right? Based on what I've played of the game so far and what other people or how other people speak so highly of Jedi Fallen Order. So I'm hoping that since then, 4 or 5, 6 years since the game's inception, that Zampella has obviously, again, got far more credibility. I think he sits on the board now as well, and he's got the power and the remit to do the three of these titles justice, right? So, but to have sort of three Star Wars games, I don't know which best way to say it, under the purview, as I was saying, of one studio and under Respawn, it's a huge development or managerial task, right? And I can't speak to the potential. Go on.
I was going to say, let's not forget that Mr. Zampella himself and his partner left Infinity Ward to create that studio for that kind of thing. And they actually were the guys behind the Modern Warfare series. So from management side, they did take Call of Duty back in the day and make a massive difference because it's considered one of the best Call of Duties out there.
Yeah.
The Modern Warfare series, and it is his studio potentially. He left Infinity Ward to start that studio. So management wise, I think he's got it down to a T. But I do apologize for interrupting.
I was kind of trying to alleviate Paul's point or Paul's fears that Jedi Fallen Order was made like 4, 5, 6 years ago or whatever, but now it should hopefully the Star Wars IP will seem to have been handed over to Vince and say, look, it's your baby. And I know they've sort of historically pinned down and penned in studios with considerable amount of producers applying pressure, not the good sort, and not what you would call as part of the solution, should I say. So it's all down to the leeway and freedom that Zampella's sort of created for himself, right? And he's definitely shown to be an excellent conductor. And I don't know how to put this, but this time around, it's all going to be down to the assemblage and conduction. I hope that's a word of sort of putting three orchestras together, and no doubt we'll come to hear either the symphony or the incoherence, right, that they produce. And also, just on the Star Wars topic, just saying that popped in my head. Again, I'm not a huge fan. I don't know if it was I think it was the Game Awards, right? And I just had to give a mention to another Star Wars title that intrigued me, which was the what was that? It's really imaginative and captivating, and I hadn't seen something as captivating that as a concept trailer for a long time. I think it was Star Wars Eclipse. It was called, coming from Quantic Dreams.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
well.
I'm really curious to see if they can deliver on that really, I don't know what the best way to describe it, opulent and expensive and extravagant looking announcement trailer, because it was a sight to behold, and I haven't seen something as good as that for a long time from any company. So yeah, they've put a lot of time and effort into that, and hopefully they get every other aspect of that project right and make it a good one. I've seen a few people sort of with a few disparaging remarks. Oh, Star Wars Eclipse, so it looked great, but then when I heard it was Quantic Dreams, they weren't too impressed. But I think what Quantic Dreams produce is not everyone's taste, but those that love it do hold their titles in high regard, and I'm perhaps one of them. I'll just shut up now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I've answered your question there. Respawn headquarters are in Sherman Oaks, California.
Oh, really? Oh, actually, that's not too far from me, actually.
Go and see them.
Go and see
advise them.
Get a job. Yeah, get a job.
Actually, no, I live.
Pop in. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Knock on the door. Excuse me, I've got some advice for you.
No. I live closer to Obsidian, and I'd much rather go and work there, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. No, you got good points, but
just look at Vince Sampella. He's no longer running the Star Wars now. He's been moved on to the Battlefield series to help bring that back. I think it was in December. They had a shake-up and they moved stuff around.
And there we go.
Yeah, they're on damage control with Battlefield.
Yeah, the Battlefield 2042.
Yeah. They've got to, because they're hemorrhaging users all the time. I mean, the best place to play, apparently, is on PC, and a friend of mine really likes it. But he said it's so difficult to fill a lobby of the 120 or whatever it is, and is it 128 players? He says you just cannot fill a lobby on PC, and that's the best place. It's working at the moment.
The game is 4 months old and dead in the water, and that's not a good thing.
No, this is very true. Anywho, Stubbs.
Yeah.
Good topic. I didn't expect it to last that long. I mean, but obviously some Star Wars.
You're talking Star
fans
Wars.
on the
I can
panel.
go on forever. You want more?
But no, it's good to see the passion for Star Wars. It is. But we'll move on to the next topic. Now, this isn't actually like concrete, but as Gears was mentioned, I'm normally the first one to say, "Oh, that ain't true. That ain't." But
Not
because
true.
this is a game I actually want to be done, and I'm going to run with this. So, Nick from Xbox Era suggested that another Xbox franchise is going to have the Master Chief style collection treatment. So obviously they had all the campaigns, obviously, with multiplayers, and it eventually stable because who's that? Who's gone? BMG. Sure, I'll be back.
BMG. Yeah, he's having a point.
Sure, I'll be back. Sure, I'll be back in a minute.
You said Gears, and he said, "Nope, I'm out."
That's probably what. Just to get me.
And we're done. See you next time, people.
Well, Master Chief basically started out as it wasn't. It launched crap, and obviously they fixed it over time. But it's basically all the campaigns and multiplayers in one package.
It did.
It's been suggested. Yeah.
Go on, Vijay.
No, sorry. I just wanted to, because I'm not really familiar with the Halo collection. So can somebody just succinctly explain what treatment or facelift, if any, did the Halo games in the collection receive? Were there sort of further enhancements that could that accentuated or punctuated the collection, or et cetera, in terms of visuals or gameplay or quality of life enhancements? I'm just not familiar with it. So when Stubb says, "Oh, they're going to give it the same treatment," I just wasn't sure what kind of surgery that the Halo collection went under.
So, do you want me to take this? I'm
Yeah.
quite answering. So the oldest of the He would have been really good. If he comes back in, he can.
I was just kidding. I'm just kidding because he's not here.
Yeah, he would have been better, I think, because I think he's a more of a Halo fan than I. However, so the oldest ones that were obviously released, Halo 1, Halo 2, they were way back in the OG Xbox era. Okay, I mean the Halo 1 launched with the original Xbox back in the day, so obviously it couldn't exist. You couldn't play it the same way. There was an option there to play it in the same graphical values, but basically 343 gave it a whole overhaul. The cutscenes were changed and added, and story was added, and the gameplay kind of remained the same, touched up a little bit here and there, but visually it was reworked to work in today's standards.
Can I just ask you to elaborate on that? Would you say it was more so Legendary Mass Effect Legendary Edition, or closer to Shadow of the Colossus and Demon Soul? Excellent remakes in their own right, by the way. Or somewhere in between.
See, the thing is, you can't compare because you've got to look at the graphical fidelity of the original Halo when it launched, and Halo CE launched. I can't remember the year when did Xbox launch? The original one?
2001.
There we go. So, and to play a game launched in 2001, thank you, Paul, and playing it into when it was released 2019, I think, it just didn't have that graphical fidelity. So it was a complete graphical overhaul to make it a current. It's still not perfect. You can still tell it's an old game. It plays like an old game. It just looks so much better. And I, for one, I'm not a massive Halo fan, but I've played through. I did play Combat Evolved back in the day a little bit. Wasn't into first-person shooters then, but I've played through the first three of. I'm on the fourth now in the Master Chief Collection, and the first and the second, just the graphical difference is just massive. You remember the remake of Monkey Island?
No.
You'll have played Monkey Island on 360, right?
Or Day of the Tentacle, or
yeah. So you compare the fact of the old Monkey Island. You could go back into the old view and the new Monkey Island. It was day and night. It was kind of like that, and that's exactly what the Halo and Master Chief Collection did for the older games. As for the newer, I'm not so sure. It was just ported straight in. But for the older games, definitely.
Excellent.
I hope that explains it.
They also made it so you could set the controls universally across all the versions, because the controls for each game were a little bit different, which is really annoying when you're bouncing from game to game.
Halo 4 for all of them, okay? That's all I'm saying. Halo 4 for all of them.
But yeah, and wasn't one of them was totally remastered, wasn't it? If I remember right.
Probably the first. I'm going to be honest. Probably the first one.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it did the music, it did the cutscenes and everything.
Yeah.
Its only downfall was actually on the first one, when you replay it, is the music. It was too loud and you couldn't turn it down. So when the action kicked in, we sat in a party, the music's just that's just terribly loud, and you couldn't turn it down. That's the only downfall I could think of that remaster. But that's just me. I hope that helps, VJ.
Does that help, VJ?
The other thing it did, VJ, was it put all of the Halos in under one wrapping. All of the previous Halos, including like Halo Wars, and one or two of the other ones got added later. And I think that's what they're going to keep doing. It's going to keep growing, and you can pick and choose which ones are installed, by the way. You don't have to put all the games on, but you can if you want to.
Yeah, so I think he's gone away for a minute. He's gone on
He
mute.
did. He might have, yeah.
But
He's gone for a cuppa.
I did such a good job in persuading him how good it was. He's gone to download it. That's where he's gone. Okay.
You've stumped him. You've made VJ quiet.
Let's
That's how good your answer was. You made VJ quiet.
Let's pretend I did such a good job. He's gone to download the game. Yeah, there we go. I'm going with that.
Yeah, welcome, Fun Speculation. Welcome, On Its Guard, Gears family, Crispy Bomb as well. But yes, basically what the rumor suggested is it was going to be, because obviously Gears 1's already been remastered for next it was for Xbox One, and they wouldn't technically need to remaster that. And because I would say because Gears 2 and 3 had, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure they had a 4K and 60 FPS boost that 2 and 3 did. So I would say they'd have to remaster Gears 2 and Gears 3. They would. And then put it all into one package. Because obviously, I'm presuming they'll just talk. If this is Gears, it might not be. I would presume that it would be the original trilogy and not that Gears Judgment, because that's not part of the original trilogy.
The thing is, what was said was it's having the Master Chief
treatment,
which means all of them. It means all of them, doesn't it? Does it not? Because you've got Halo 1 to 4. You've got Reach.
But they weren't all originally.
Guardians wasn't available when they started making it, so that's why Guardians isn't in there. But that's because when they started developing it, there was only the 1, 2, 3, 4, and Reach.
It would be nice if they're all in there. But it is the fan. Xbox, no. The fans want. There's actually a petition for this for years. And they know, because what it will help do as well, if it is this, is breach the gap between. Basically, everyone knows there's a Gears 6 isn't coming for quite a number of years, and that's what everyone believes. And if they release this will give the Gears fan base and gamers something to play as a stopgap.
Something to fill the void, right?
But the biggest argument will be is most people want the campaigns, but the sticking point will be, as all the Halo fans have, is the controller setups, because they're all different. There'll be a lot of arguments over that. They might just do all the campaigns and that'll be it. But because they said the MCC treatment, it probably the multiplayer as well. And at the same time,
it would be if they give it the full treatment, it would be all the campaigns, the MCC plus Gears Tactics, and all the other some of the side stuff as well.
But Tactics is current gen, so you wouldn't need to do it.
No, but they could still wrap it in the same package. If you look at the Halo package, it goes all the way up to
Halo 4 was 4 was in the same gen,
yeah.
Giving too much value for money there. Stop it.
I mean, the Halo package is a great package. Yeah, it really is. Because it gives you Halo Reach and the other stuff as well.
And to answer Indie Gamer's question, and obviously Lupe answered it for him. No, I haven't completed all the Halos yet. So Lupe answered that.
But he will do.
They're downloaded, they are. But
okay, everybody knows Stubbs never completes a game. Come on, people. Stop asking silly questions.
Or joins multiplayer. Or joins multiplayer, I'm just saying.
Yakuza Kiwami.
Well, I can defend Stubbs in that. He has joined multiplayer with me on Black for Blood, so to a degree.
Sometimes
to a degree, there you
game night. It's like
and you were there, in fact, animated, shouting at him.
Yes. No. If anyone doesn't shout at him Back for Blood, dude, that's you.
No, never. No, I'm a very quiet individual.
But obviously, some people have suggested
from my life, I did.
It also could be Fable, but in my opinion, it is Gears. But what's your opinion, BMG? He's probably going to say no, it's not that.
He has no idea what we've been talking about.
Spider-Man.
Gone
he knows.
Yeah.
No, I know. Me and Stubbs have been DMing over. But and to be honest, it'd be what a waste of money. What a waste of resources. Why?
Wow.
There's 5 Gears games. They hold up. To be fair, I think they hold up really well already. It's the exact same game, all 5 of them. Apart from they changed the scenery slightly. But no, what a waste of money. What a waste of resources. Because you've got to think now, because they said an Xbox franchise, Bethesda.
Yeah.
Or they are now Xbox. Wolfenstein series. They could do the Fallout series back from the very first one. So 1 and 2 PC. Redo them for them. all the rest of them for console.
Wow,
you
the
get
early
full
Fallout
treatment.
stuff is like totally different. The early Fallout stuff
Yeah,
is totally different from what we've seen.
Yeah, you probably couldn't really do the original 2, but 3, 4, New Vegas, give that the full treatment. I'd sooner see something like that, a game worth time, money, and resources. Leave the coalition to do what they're doing.
And Gears is more than just 5 titles, by the way, when you look at the other stuff they did. So and as we get newer gamers, they haven't played all those games as well.
I just think it'd be, with what the coalition's got going on, they're working on, what is it, a new IP plus whatever, probably Gears 6 that we're assuming. Why pull some of that team away to do something that's just a waste of time?
I'd say that if it was going to be revamped, remastered, remade, it wouldn't be the coalition. It would probably be the same team that did Battletoads, to be quite honest with you, without multiplayer. And in terms of Fallout New Vegas, I think that's an exceptional shout. I'd be up for that.
Yeah. Or even Banjo, everyone's getting on. We need family games. Do all the Banjos. let's remaster them. 4K 60.
As long as they've got accessibility controls bundled in for Paul.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I'm not greenlighting that project.
No,
they tried that with Lucky's Tale, and that
Thank you, VJ. VJ has my back. I like that. That's good.
Well, it's not I have your back. I just listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, I just think Gears would be a waste. There's so much other stuff out there, because I really do think the Gears games do hold up today. It was only, I think, last year I replayed them all. And I think they hold up really well. FPS boost, some all HDR with the new consoles, but nothing more than that.
AMG, is today's date is like when you crush StubzGaming's his dreams and hopes?
We have quite well.
Just trample all over him.
I knew for a while what he was going to say.
Kill Gears off. Get rid of that. Let's get rid of Sonic. Let's get rid of him as well. Let's just
more brownie points for Looper.
Yeah, but I think Gears would be a waste. Fable, because it hasn't Fable 1 and 3 just got the FPS boost. If I remember rightly.
I've been playing Fable. I tried it out over Christmas, I think it was, and I think even the original Fable, even if it did have a remaster, I don't think it would go down too well.
The first one didn't hold up. It didn't. I love the Fable series. I really do. Played 1, 2, and 3 to completion and stuff. But the first one I went back to when it came on backwards compatible. It just doesn't hold up to today's standards. It was fun, but I'm looking forward to how they change it going forward. With still keeping the same sort of what's the word I'm looking for? The same sort of comedy that's in it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. The first one, though, it just did not hold up, and a remake of that, I think, at this point would be just completely pointless.
Yeah, no, I don't think just do not Gears. Stay away from Gears. Let's just leave it to die.
You could do you could say the same thing about Fallout. To be honest with you, I think I think to be honest with you, 99% of the gamers just want the Lost Planet series back.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There you go. You wanted spice. I threw the spice in there. The Lost Planet series back in 4K.
No, God, no! Stop! Just for the love of God.
BJ does have a valid point. If this collection is Gears, I would say it would be a different developer working on the game. I wouldn't.
It'll be the
Obsidian.
It'll be the guys that redid Battletoads for sure.
It could be EA.
Let's hand it over to Infinity Ward, is what I'll say.
Hey, I am going to start blocking people on this panel. I swear to God.
Backing up, hands in the air.
But what it would also do as well, like Crispy was go up. What he was saying, it makes sense to modernise. Basically, for the multiplayer, to modernise the Gears 1, 2, and 3 servers to have the collection. And then they could switch off the old Gear servers, save some money. Not that they need to save money, because a lot of them are like hack servers. It's a bit ropey playing the old Gears. It is, but it will do well because I will play them all again.
You see,
did you say it would be woke? Oh, shut that up.
I don't know what that means. I don't.
See, Stubbs, I think that they should, Coalition should hire out Marcus Phoenix and probably hand him over to Rare so they can save that game Everwild. Maybe make Marcus Phoenix the main protagonist in it. I think it'll go down pretty well.
Maybe do a few children's parties as well.
Call Phil and tell him.
An open world Gears of War.
They tried that with Gears 5.
I thought that's what Halo was.
Or first person shooter.
Oh dear.
Why did we let him on the show?
Very good.
They are called the Coalition. They are, but I don't know if Crispy Bomb, if the Coalition would make this remastered package. I think they might hand it over to somebody else.
Yeah. Can somebody get a hold of Removable's wife and ask her to burn down his she shed? I'm just saying.
Trust me, she doesn't need you to tell her that. She's probably been thinking that the moment it was built.
Is that the opposite of a man cave, a she shed?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She shed.
It would look incredible though if they remastered Gears in the Unreal 5 engine though. It would look amazing.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the she shed then. It would look incredible. Whatever it is, I hope it does well. Because, remasters or remakes can really bring back a life to an old franchise if it's done well. If it's not a quick, we've just added some textures, we've just tweaked the odd COD control here, and we've now charged you an extra 70 quid for the actual benefit of it. It can bring back a dead franchise. So
don't get me started about that. Remember Gears 5, let's charge you £20 on top of the package, and then let's give away all the skins because we're excited that everyone's playing it. Everyone the standard version, they all got the skins that they charge an ultimate version price for. Just don't get me started on that again.
Well, that's what you get for buying the ultimate version. Come on.
But they really triggered people with that because they gave it away because they had so many people playing. It weren't right what they did. They gave it away for free in the same weeks when people just bought it. That's wrong. But then again, it is Xbox with monetization. They're getting better. They are, but they always have loved monetization. Gears has always been hammered. Gears 4 and Gears 5 suffered heavily with monetization. They did heavily. Yeah, Halo's not as bad. Well, Halo's not as bad for that. Never has been.
And thus the topic came to a close.
Well, then again, you might get a film out of it, if the Rock has said he's going to be
Batista's been saying that for years, isn't he? He said he wanted to be a Gears film.
Clarify something, Removable. I have heard Batista say this. Bautista.
He hates Stubbs.
Rock Johnson is going to be the new Marcus Phoenix.
Bloody expensive film of them two.
No,
definitely. And he's going to play it the way he did in Doom. Run it into the
ground. God. Oh God, no.
Isn't it Batista though that wants to play Marcus Phoenix?
Yeah,
he's been lobbying.
Yeah.
If I think, and I don't know why, I think if any gaming franchise became a movie and it had The Rock, it would have to be GTA. I'm sorry, but
Fortnite.
Fortnite. Yeah, there you go.
I think it'd be GTA. It would. Rock is done.
But the trouble is that's been. In a way, you could say that about. They've already kind of done that though. There's so many, gangster heist films these days of getting quick rich. it's been done to death. So a franchise of an outside world, you know, that kind of makes a little bit more sense. But you know, this is Hollywood.
Story background. Yeah, Gears has enough story background.
Cena is bad. Apparently, John Cena is bad. But to be fair, they have to be big wrestler dudes to fit into the Gears universe. You can't have small actors.
Well, there was someone actually did make a good point of Ryan Reynolds as playing as Carmine.
Yeah, but Carmine's
definitely.
not built.
That's exactly why Ryan Reynolds would work. is literally he'd bring the humour to it, and then when he did inevitably pass on, you would know for a fact it would hit perfectly.
I wonder who's playing Arna Stroud then. Marcus Phoenix's wife.
So you're saying
Gina Carano?
You're saying Kevin Hart couldn't be Coltrane? No.
Coltrane's little brother.
big dude. Big wrestlers, basically.
Oh, that'd be Terry Crews. It has to be Terry Crews, wouldn't it? Terry Crews.
Yeah, Terry Crews.
Oh, he would be hilarious. He would be hilarious.
He has the question I was thinking, who'd be
It's a Coltrane, baby.
yeah, he definitely would. I'm trying to think of the perfect person to be. I can't think of his name now. Jesus Christ, my brain's gone. Marcus's partner, you know. Oh God, Dom. Yeah, because you'd want someone who's big, but you can really sympathise for.
Yeah, Dominic Santiago.
You know, for that perfect, you know, break your heart sort of character.
Oh yeah.
They nailed the video character and the voice character down to a T with him. It was one of the, you know, it's like it really caught you, you know, really hit you in the feels that character did. So finding someone to play him, I think you'd have to find someone with high caliber acting as well as physical prowess, and that's going to be a hard one. I think the others you can pretty much kind of work in.
For Dominic, Crispy's saying that's The Rock.
I can't see The Rock having that.
There's a couple of chats.
You know,
there's a couple of chats from Crispy within the chat on YouTube saying that Rock plays Gears. I've played with him. He said that he'd like to play Dom.
What, you've legitimately played with The Rock?
That's
really?
That's what Crispy Bomb says.
Okay.
I'm just.
Okay.
I couldn't see The Rock playing as Dom. He doesn't. Don't get me wrong. The Rock is a good actor in some cases, but he doesn't have the range for empathy and, you know, the emotional aspect that really Dom brought to it.
Like
that sensitive nature.
Crispy Bomb says in the chat, watch Red Notice.
I will.
That's a good film. It's a really good film.
Watch Red Notice, and then you'll change your mind. I agree, Crispy.
Oh right, okay. I haven't seen Red Notice, so I get no. Thanks for that. No, okay.
Crispy, I didn't even think of that, brother. You're correct. Yeah, watch Red Notice.
To confirm, Crispy hasn't played Gears with him.
Fair enough.
Okay, Red Notice. Okay, I'll find that. Okay, good. But it's a franchise that is just perfect, isn't it, for this sort of thing?
Is that a sequel? Removal. I think it's a sequel to Pink Slip. God, the panel's slow today.
But like the Gears franchise, it's like Halo. The universe is absolutely, the lore's so deep. I mean, there's enough games for about 15 more games of Gears. But apparently Gears is 10.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were still on Battletoads. Sorry.
Welcome to Mama Rocks. I hope you're back safely.
She's back from America.
I seen you had an amazing time in America, and you even went to see the Home Alone house. That was incredible. That photo.
Oh,
glad to see you had a good time in America.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome to Tallman 55. So yeah, that was a good topic. That was.
That's why Stubbs is happy.
Yeah, got to mention Gears without actually. Yeah.
God, no.
So
Let's
should we
move,
switch gears
move
and
on.
move on to
Let's
another
move
topic?
on.
Yeah, we can.
Yes,
Who has
switch gears, Stubbs.
Moving
Yeah.
swiftly along. Yep.
We are. Who passed pineapple on their pizza?
Oh no! God, if you put
Marcus
pineapple on your
Phoenix
pizza,
has.
you're a serial killer or something. Oh no!
Hello.
I'm working on the serial killer.
Oh, what's
I'm
wrong with
working on
you?
this. I'm working on the serial killer bit, dude. There's dark secrets back there. I'm telling you.
I had my discussions with me and Cerebral about this, and I kind of almost got he's gone, so he can't actually argue with me. But I kind of got him to agree with him. I said, pineapple on pizza. It's one of those pizzas that I wouldn't have on a regular basis, but it is kind of like a refreshing pizza because it's got that nice slight sweetness to it. So if you're looking for a sort of pizza that maybe you don't have it often, but it's a little bit of a sweet pizza, that does go well. But generally, as a basis, I don't go for the pineapple pizza. It's more, as I said, it's more of like a, I fancy something slightly different.
What a load of prejudicial nonsense.
Because you just love it. Go on, just don't give me that.
Oh, no, I was just going to say Marcus Phoenix has pineapple on his pizza.
Yes. I don't know,
How do you think it's got so big?
So I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. They don't live on Earth. Everyone thinks they live on Earth. Gears is not based in. Gears isn't based in Earth. Sarah, it's called.
In the pineapple pizza world. Dun 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 dun.
Oh, Crispy's not liking the no.
Do you know what? It's the pizza version of when you get a Chinese and it's sweet and sour. It's the pizza version. That's all it is.
Exactly. Thank you. Someone who understands. Yes.
I would sooner play a Sonic game than have pineapple on pizza. That is just
that is the best
Sorry,
thing I've ever heard. Sonic 1 and a Mega Drive can't beat it.
I'm gonna have to step in for Lupa. If that fucking blue hedgehog's mentioned once more, she is going to go nuts.
Well, we'll refer to it as
Sonic.
He who we do not mention.
Oh
He who speeds.
He's the game Voldemort. He can't be named.
What does
Don't say his name.
He should be turned into a mini rug.
What does FTW stand for?
For the
win.
Ah, okay, very good.
That's
Thank
a good.
you.
That means that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just not up on all this modern day spiel.
FTW modern day. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Indie Gamer, well done. Pineapple
Someone
on
else
pizza
now.
for the win. Good.
Yep.
ACS Husk, how you doing? Do you have pineapple on your pizza husk or not?
Sonic Hedgehog, the goat. He's a hedgehog. Why have you turned him into a goat? No idea.
Greatest of all time. I should have put the dots in
goodness
between.
gracious. Can't people spell these days? Spell out words.
Oh no! Oh, where's that Mario picture? What did they do with that Mario picture? Decapitating him.
Well, if you're going to do that, you do realise there was a picture on Twitter going round with Sonic having anal sex with Mario.
Oh no! Not the time or the place. What the fuck?
Oh no! Oh, that is a shit. Oh no!
Oh, my left ear's just fallen off.
I think it's about time to announce that this podcast possibly isn't for children. Okay.
On all the
At 11:30, they should be in bed anyway.
it's marked for adults anyway, and on all the podcast themes, it's always set to explicit, just in case.
I just want to just mention that BMG does have a blue costume on and he's got a big S on the front. So I don't know if he's fraternizing with us.
We could better start mentioning Sonic because Lupa's triggered.
Oh, God. Mario would not allow it.
No, but
I just say it was weird because I saw your picture, and then literally about half an hour later, I saw that, and I was like, oh God, what's going on here? I've only been on Twitter for half an hour, and then I've seen already two things like this. That's like, right, I'm off. This reminds me of the 80s all over again.
See, this is why you don't have pineapple on pizza. This is where it goes. Dark places.
It was definitely Sonic was the giving one.
No.
Oh dear. Oh no, that image is in my head now. Oh.
Oh, you were lucky you got it in the head. I saw it actually on Twitter as a cartoon. I was like, well, okay, that's something I hadn't really thought about. I can link you into it if you really want to be scared.
No.
Here comes the man that loves pineapple on pizza. He's back, Paul.
No, I'm totally ignoring that discussion.
Which discussion were you talking about?
I'm blocking Removable on all my social media.
You said you wanted spice, so I bring the spice, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, whoa, it's too much. Oh, God.
I'm sorry, I knew you had no taste, but wow. Wow, low standards, man. Low standards. I tell you.
Did you say low or no?
Both are correct in some cases. Oh, that's a topic that Stub has been waiting for ages. He's been chomping at the bits to try and put into the old podcast.
He really has.
He's been saying, "Can we put it in? Can we put it in?" No, we've got more important topics to talk about.
Look, last week we had the whole Activision Blizzard acquisition, etc. We did.
Oh yeah, it was. You were not happy, buddy, when that happened. That completely derailed the topic section you had all set up.
It did, yes, actually, yes. I was going to it did derail it. Been derailed this week too. We will get to that one eventually. It will, but it's all good. It is. I mean, there isn't much more to talk about, but I'll say something now, and it's not a lot to talk about because you can't say out till things are official. But apparently, PlayStation signed for 3 more games to be on the system for the next 3 years, regardless of the deal. So. Probably not news to anybody because that's probably why Phil came out and said we're honouring all contracts. So it's pretty much how Microsoft works, don't they? So,
but the tweet said they're honouring all existing contracts.
Yeah, well, apparently this deal was made a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't long ago before they made the deal. It wasn't.
Which is fair enough. That makes sense.
They made the deal knowing the agreement was coming, but they made the deal. I mean, so you know.
But didn't they have till 2024 anyway? With Call of Duty, with the exclusivities and that, because they had a long-term deal anyway, didn't they? For 2024, I think it expires.
Sorry,
or is that the new deal that they've done?
Apparently, there's a Warzone 2 coming as well. Apparently.
Warzone 2.
I don't see a need for a Warzone 2. Just keep updating it. I don't get it.
Warzone 2 is going to be subtitled, "We're sorry. We're very, very sorry."
Warzone 2 coming out as well as Overwatch 2. Yeah, okay. Believe it when you see it.
Well, I still do. What I've seen is a lot of debate on. Well, everyone can debate. It's fun to debate about stuff, but I still believe that obviously with these contracts, you're still going to. All the studios that make Call of Duty are still going to be making Call of Duty.
I don't think
so.
I don't think so. I think they're going to go to a yearly cycle, and it's only going to be one studio working on it.
You can't play it every year,
or not a yearly, but a bi-yearly or multi-yearly cycle.
I think two. I think 2 studios. Yeah. Like Call of Duty was back in the day. It would go Treyarch and Infinity Ward. And it used to flip flop each time. If you remember,
I believe there's loads of studios now.
What I hope they do is stop flip flopping. Because
what I mean is because what they did, they flip flop rather than one studio do it. It gave one studio 2 years to work on the next one they're going to do. So it used to be one studio, and then it turned into 2. It became help me out. The one,
I know,
the one Zampella, Infinity Ward,
Oh,
and then Treyarch. Okay, so it used to flip flop like that. It used to.
Well, I believe
So each studio had a couple of years to make a really, really good Call of Duty, and that's why the Modern Warfares came out, and then the Black Ops. That's what happened because they had that time, a couple of years, rather than just cookie cutting the same over. And I think what's happened recently though is they've absorbed a lot of the other development studios for support, and I think Call of Duty it's fine every year, but one studio can't make that every year. No chance.
Well, but see, the problem is you make it every year, people get burned out. I don't want, and the guys at Infinity Ward might want to work on something else. They may walk into Phil's office. Hey, we got an idea for a game they haven't let us work on, and Phil may go, "What do you need?"
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, we can. It's not beyond the wit of man, is it? That they can have several teams. Look at Playground.
Yeah.
Look at Playground right now. They're making Fable, and obviously they're doing Forza. They're doing Fable. There's two different teams. It's not beyond the wit of man to split the teams into two or whatever. But I don't think it's going to be one studio.
I do think that if they don't want to keep up with the Call of Duty burnout that's happening, they need to slow it down. They need to get back to working on stories. They need to get back to, as well as the technology and what actually goes into the game.
It'd be nice for them as well. It would. But I think until them basically until 2024, then things will change because they would have honoured their contracts then. It would have.
Agreed. But look at the money it's making every year. Look at the money it's making. It's astronomical. It's one of the biggest hitters every single year, without doubt.
Yeah.
Across every platform.
It's making a shitload of money for Sony.
Well, no, but the thing is, while if it still releases on the PlayStation, that money that Sony are making, if it's owned by Microsoft, then Microsoft get a cut of the money that Sony's earning from that.
And I'm gonna real quick. I want to point out again that the whole deal is more than just Call of Duty.
Of course, it is, yes.
King
of
and
course.
What's it called? Candy Crush make a shitload more money.
Absolutely.
Call of Duty does.
My question is, when am I getting achievements in Candy Crush? That's what I'm concerned about.
Exactly.
So
agreed.
I think you could keep the hype of Call of Duty up without flushing it down our throats every year with a half-ass game. Warzone is not great, or not whatever the most recent one they just released is.
Vanguard. I actually, multiplayer wise, I actually like it. The story's good. This is probably been. I'm throwing myself out there. Chat's going to kill me. I sort of fell out of love with Call of Duty. I was never a Call of Duty fan anyway. I'm not a first person shooter guy, but I love the Black Ops. I love the Modern Warfares, the Black Ops. I still play Black Ops 2 now. I still play Black Ops 2 now. With the kids, we do like a local sort of hookup with the 3 Xboxes in the same room. And we just play against each other, against the bots, and my kids love it. We really do. So I still play Black Ops 2. Those were the pinnacle, and then I sort of fell out of love. And this time out, I thought, really, another World War II? Come on! But I was persuaded by Mr. Tushy, and I'll call him out. It's his fault. He said to me, dude, he was on the fence the same as I was, and he always said another World War II, and he's never going to play it. And he said, trust me, you're going to love it. And I do. I like it. I wouldn't say love, but I like playing it on multiplayer. But that's only because of the company I keep, I think. That makes it more interesting, because I don't play with randoms.
So that was the problem.
I will hook up with a couple of friends, and they know who they are.
See, that was the problem with
not me.
3-year cycles. They started giving 3-year cycles, but by the time they've started the game on, the world's changed and people don't want futuristic shooters. So that's when you give them 3 years. In the shooter world, people want something different. But, you give them that long, it's too fast paced. and change it.
I think,
It's like
yeah.
World War Two. People didn't want it then. It's like modern. What was that other one to do? Call of Duty Future Warfare, something warfare, not Modern Warfare, something else. It was. It didn't do very
Future.
well.
I think there's something like that. Yeah. Do you know what I kind of miss? And this is probably going to. Some people might remember it. Medal of Honor. Did you remember that?
Yeah.
That was actually really done well.
It was, but the later games were absolute shit. I'm going to.
Without a doubt, they lost. They became much more documentaries rather than gameplay, which was ironic because the actual gameplays were good, but it had a kind of documentary thrown into it, which actually was like really good. But the later ones, and also, if anyone you may not think, I always like it was. It's not Band of Brothers. Well, maybe it's Band of Brothers, where it was a first-person stroke tactical game as well. That was really good. So you would switch from. In some cases, you switch from like the XCOM sort of situation, and then when it was your attacking, you would switch to first person. I think it's called Band of Brothers. I could be wrong, but it was that was a really good World War II sort of situation, sort of gun game. But these it's now because, as you said, it's become more generic now. It just become more formulaic, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You see now,
and that's what I'm missing. I'm missing that freshness.
The game that got me into Xbox anyway was something very similar to whatever you're describing, which is called Full Spectrum Warrior. That's what got me into Xbox. Okay, Full Spectrum Warrior, where you had to sort of organize your troops where to go and that kind of thing, and you could pincer them in. There was another one that was on the PC and the Dreamcast called Hidden and Dangerous. That was a good game. That was very similar to what you're describing, but I've never heard of Band of Brothers. I've seen the TV show, but
it was. I'm trying to think. Was it Brothers in Arms? Sorry, Brothers in Arms.
There we go. Yeah, I've heard
sorry, Brothers in Arms. Sorry, Band of Brothers. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got wrong. It's Brothers in Arms. The very first ones, and it was a brilliant game, and I really, really enjoyed it. Because as I said, it kind of combined not only strategic, but it also combined first-person shooting. It was a new twist, and I fell in love with that game. It was also quite hard because the AI wasn't just sitting there as just cannon fodder. They would flank you as well. They'd hide. They draw you in and attack you. And I was like, wow, this is weird. And it's that sort of game again. I haven't seen for such a long time. That freshness to the genre. It's kind of become, as I said, it's kind of become formulaic and a little bit stale for me. And I'm just like, well, and until I see something like that, I've kind of become a little bit bored with it. And that's what's probably why I haven't gone into COD as much. I mean, I was a huge fan of Warfare. Absolutely huge fan. I mean, on the second one, I got the Golden Sniper. And if anyone knows the path you had to get the Golden Sniper rifle, it was a grind fest. You literally had to completely prestige all of those sniper rifle weapons just before you even get the golden rifle. And I did it because I enjoyed it. But as times have gone on, again, as I said previously, it became a little bit formulaic.
Might I say something?
Always.
Yeah.
I'm probably just going to explain this in some broad strokes, as even my knowledge is limited after I've had a beer. I mean, at the end of the day, all knowledge is narrow and limited, right? Thus, as human beings, we are finite and project everything for the future based on past memory, right? And our own desires, right? So having said that, publicly traded corporations, the size of Activision, always work to 5-10 year plans as far as I'm concerned. And changing direction is incredibly difficult, and you try to avoid it as much as possible, right? Especially when you've laid out and forecasted your intentions and plans to senior or majority shareholders, right? Banks and financial institutes and so on and so forth. And can internal and environmental factors affect plans or cause management to change course? Of course they can. So you have to always look at several factors, not just in terms of how you feel about a particular franchise or a particular game, because that's only just your own personal experience with it, right? You have to look at from a company's point of view, right? And I'm not talking about Microsoft because they kind of sit at their own table, right? And everybody else sits on smaller tables in and around them. So in terms of, corporation size and can do, right? You have to look at stuff like the economics, the employee skill sets, company sales, future expansion or contraction, right, et cetera, and then you've got dozens and dozens of other factors that have to be considered, right, before course correction, let alone changing course entirely, takes effect, right? And typically what I've found is an IP is laid to rest if ingenuity, imagination, chemistry, the glue, the creativity in a studio is sorely lacking, and if commercial demand is declining for a given IP. And that's why sometimes we hear about, random studios with hundreds of people being closed down by Activision, and suddenly they open up a new studio with 100 new hires, right? And that's what they seem to do. They seem to, Paul was saying, is burn out teams and then put them out to dry, and then create new studios, right? Hopefully with new ideas that will continue the development of COD. And when it comes to game development, wherever we hear, oh, it's a year, it's 2 years, it's 3 years or 4 years, on average, you're easily looking, if you look at the production values and what goes into a COD game, and I know they're not all perfect, but what game is, right? You're looking at a 3 to 4 year dev cycle as a minimum, right? All the way from project conceivement to the green light process, let alone the production period, but then you've got the polishing period and bug fixing and all that, right, before the game hits the market. And it's for a normal bloke and someone like me who's probably bought one Call of Duty in 10 years, so I'm not probably the best placed person to speak about it. It's hard to imagine Call of Duty while it's sort of not being annualized or perhaps de-annualized, if you prefer. I don't know if that's another new word I've made up. It's at the end of the day, whatever we think, it's all sort of purported supposition with no real fact or grounded reality. Maybe I'm missing something here, so please correct me if my thinking is incorrect. I don't know Phil's plans other than what we've all talked about last week and some other bits and bobs in terms of Activision and Blizzard and King. And but if you can spend, the counter argument would be, if you can spend 70 billion on purchasing a company, you can change course as you see fit. And if it's a big if, right, if it serves Xbox and Game Pass long term plans, purposes, and goals, they will make those changes. I, for one, I can't wait for those Call of Duties to come to Game Pass. If they do, all the previous ones, just to play all the campaigns, because I'm a campaign guy. And again, I'm just going to just to protect what I've been saying is change is constant. That's irrefutable, right? But the mass market, and we are not the mass market, right? But the mass market are not gaming connoisseurs, right? You have to understand one thing: they all enjoy pizza with pineapple. They don't know anything different. And whatever Sony is making, to Animated Evil's sort of point, is whatever Sony is making in regards to royalties, right, from Activision. And remember, whatever we hear, 30% this, 40%, it's 30% as a standard. But there are, depending on how many units your game sells, depending on how many microtransactions go through the system in terms of monetary value, there are tiers and there are breaks that Activision would receive. So what I'm trying to say here is that whatever Sony is making, Activision is still making the majority, if not the lion's share, or the biggest lion's share possible, whale's share, right, of the profits, hence the value of the company. Otherwise, why didn't Sony gobble up Activision? They can't, right? And at the end of the day, the other thing you have to look at it is this way, is that, and again, I don't know what Phil's agenda is, right? So this is just me speaking. If I was sort of involved in something like this, which I obviously won't be in my lifetime, maybe in my next life, but knowing my luck, if I'm reincarnated, I'll come back as myself or as RemovableSanity. The worst made and worst selling and the most buggy Call of Duty still makes more money than the vast majority of AAA budget-based titles. So that's something else worth considering. I'll just shut up now.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's probably just on sales, let alone the microtransactions that are created across a plethora of platforms. The microtransactions in that alone must be astronomical. They must be, with the battle pass and the weapons and all the skins and that kind of thing. It really does. I think, like VJ said, I mean, Call of Duty is massive when it comes to money wise. It would be remiss of Microsoft to not let it on multi-platform.
It's a cultural phenomenon, really, right?
Yeah. Just to recoup the benefits.
It could have come from any studio, any company at any time. I mean, you think about it this right? Vince Zampella, for everything that he's done, he could have quite easily, in an alternate reality as Mr. StubzGaming lives in, could have created Titanfall over Activision and then left and then made Call of Duty over EA. Right? You just don't know, right, how these things are going to come about. It's just, just small margins at the end of the day. And for those people,
I want to be clear that I hope it stays on Sony. I just don't think they need to do a yearly release. I think they need to allow it to cook a little longer and get a little more creative with it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's all the financial rewards pool, I think, will have a bearing factor. But then you've got to look at, well, does that serve Microsoft and their agenda and what they're trying to do, which is unknown to me right at the moment. But you've got a point there. But as I say to you, is that when I look at Activision and how much money they make from the worst selling COD, it's so profitable. But you're right. If they have a better idea, if they do have other projects, and they must have other ideas, then perhaps Microsoft will say, you know what, I don't know who was saying, they should perhaps let them take a risk, let a studio propose something and take a risk on making something else. Because we've seen what it's done for Guerrilla Games, right? In proposing that to Sony, right, when they were terrified of doing so, right? If you've watched the documentary, and they didn't want to do it because there was another studio producing something similar, and you've seen it now potentially with Playground Games, right, that have moved from making a racing game to making Fable, and even their concept trailer looks fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to Fable. But it's just all economics and money at the end of the day, Paul. You know exactly what I'm speaking about or speaking of.
But could you see this is how Xbox can try and get game, because they want Game Pass everywhere, get like a curated version of Game Pass on PlayStation, get people signed up to play Call of Duty. That's a way of keeping it on the platform, I suppose.
See, what I would say about Sony knew that this was a possible issue, and we talked about this last year in 2018, even before that, right? Because that's when they disclosed it to their main shareholders. So let's just say these contractual obligations finish in 2024. Sony have had 6 years knowing that this may well be an inevitable outcome, right? And if they didn't, it's their own bloody fault. And they should have, or could have, or perhaps will do, because they are Japanese companies, especially Sony, are very conservative, should have known that, listen, we do really well in our first party production pipeline, but we are really severely deficient or inefficient. What's that word? Removable? Deficient? Is that the right word?
Both.
See what a bottle of Kirin does to me. Yeah, see what a bottle of Kirin does to me. They seem to be, with Haven, and I forgot the other studio that they've opened up in Los Angeles from the ex Infinity guys or ex Call of Duty guys. So they are trying to become very much like Nintendo, self-reliant, that if they produce a hardware system, they'll produce the content, and third party is all gravy. It's a very difficult thing to do. And I know Sony have been trying to do it for the last 15 to 20 years, but they could never have legislated 20 years ago that Microsoft would go out and buy a company worth 70 billion to have 36 studios. Because I think from Microsoft's perspective, do you remember when Phil said something along the lines of, we're going to release a first party game every quarter? I think they really realized really early on that that's not enough. They need to have a first party game or a compelling title in Game Pass to keep everybody subscribed. I think it was you, Paul, that was talking earlier, or you, Animated Evil, in terms of Disney, in terms of the number of Star Wars and Marvel-based TV shows that they're releasing concurrently to maintain the not just viewers, but to keep subscribers in tow. And I think that from Microsoft's point of view, they had to do a deal of sorts of this type, right, to make sure that the subscription base, whatever the target is, 100 million, 200 million, let's get to 50, I guess, first of all, or 2 billion number that Satya Nadella said on Fox News over here. I know you don't get it over there in the, but that's what he said on the news channel at CNN or whatever. So they were inevitably going to make a move like this. And it's okay for us to say now with hindsight, but for all intents and purposes, Sony knew this, and they should have invested. And they had the money to do so, to make sure that if they do end up losing Call of Duty and some of these other titles that are the very fabric of gaming culture, then they need to find a way to to fix that revenue and profit gap, right, by producing either more content or making an acquisition of their own. So horses for courses at the end of the day. Is everyone falling asleep now? What?
Well, Sony have still got, well, the rumor of this new Project Spartacus, their subscription type service.
Whatever, you know what? When I look at it, you know what? I grew up on Sony, right? I bought my PlayStation in Japan. I was actually queued up in Japan outside of a soft match store. Yeah, and I played Ridge Racer back at the hotel, and I just couldn't get off it. And you know what? Looking at Sony and looking at where Microsoft is right now, Sony have to be very careful, because I think through the grace of Microsoft, they could very well find themselves like Nintendo, where they're allowed to operate within a sandbox.
Yeah.
And either they're going to create the next Wii U or the Virtual Boy, or have enough funds like Nintendo did, right, to go out and create the next Switch. And that's where they're going to focus, and that's what they're going to do, because trying to compete, David and Goliath almost, it's very, very difficult. So they have to create the industry, sort of within their sandbox, right, within the capacity that they have. And so far so good, right? The company's not being derailed or anything like that, right? It's just Microsoft are just going that extra, not extra mile, extra, I don't know, from here to Saturn, right? If Sony are trying to travel from here to the moon, so Microsoft are trying to travel to another galaxy. So, yeah.
It's interesting. It's like with Call of Duty, although it is games, now this esports is big. Now that would mean that Microsoft will now be in charge of the Call of Duty League and the franchising in America, and it's big business.
Well, remember,
franchise in
Microsoft bought an esports organization a couple of years ago, so they're actually up for that.
Yeah, but it's nothing on the Call of Duty Esports League in America. It's 25 million.
No, but
per
they could feed it into it. So
yes,
they're already...
I think, I agree with you, Paul. I think it's a slow sort of inauguration into that kind of area, because Microsoft are going to be new to the esports sort of arena, but they've got to get their feet in somewhere. And why not? Is this not the best place? Like Paul said, they bought an esports company. So right now they've got the esports company. Right, what do we need next? We need a game.
They've got one of the bigger esports games. So
hang on a minute. We've got one of the biggest esports games in the world, as Paul just said. It's going to be a slow inauguration. I remember watching a interview. It's probably very early last year, and it was Uncle Phil, and he was saying about the future of Xbox and stuff, and he was saying. I think we all forget that he was saying, it was probably after the launch of the Xbox Series X or the announcement of the Xbox Series S, and he was saying, we've got this new console and stuff, but we're not looking into right now. We're looking into 5, 10, 15 years into the future, and what he's seeing, that roadmap that they've got planned out, is amazing. We don't know what that is. We can only guess. That's what hobby is, guessing at what that meant. What did he mean a year ago? What's in 10 years? Are they going to take over that esports space? We don't know. But like Paul said, they bought an esports company. Now they've got a massive esports thing. They've put Halo. Halo Infinite is now into esports and stuff. They were giving out quite big prize money for the last esports tournament for that. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years. But these guys do. People like Phil and his crew and Satya and all those guys, they know exactly what they want to do. We can only guess, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unless Paul can ring him up and bring him in and he can tell us.
Stop it.
He's on speed dial. He's on speed dial for Paul. He's number 3, isn't he? Isn't Phil number 3?
He made me move him up to number 1.
Oh, okay.
The only point I'll make, though, although they bought an esports thingy, is there's with them owning Activision, there will be no need to. The Call of Duty League, etc., is fully established. There's no reason to mess it up and start a new and move it into a new league at all.
That's
no
fine,
for
but but the game companies themselves don't run the esports stuff. A company itself. That's why Sony bought the esports. I can't remember what they bought. They bought an esports thing not so long back. It's a company that says, right, we're the esports team. Come to us and we'll do this. It's not the gaming companies that do it. It might well still be the same league. It might well still be in the Call of Duty League. But it's who hosts it is the question.
Have you seen Luke Steele's comment about the COD? For all of COD's casual popularity, it's outside of the top 10 most watched.
Yeah, it is true. It's not big no more. But it's still big money if you live in America.
But let's be fair, it's a toe step into the esports world, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a toe step. It's because Microsoft don't do it. Other than there's some Gears stuff, but that's never been massive.
No, Gears is tiny.
What's Gears?
It got smaller when Microsoft. It got smaller when Microsoft stopped putting its hand in its pocket for big prize pools. They do it at the launch of a game, then they kind of stop doing it.
That's the thing.
They did.
So it's a little tiny step into another big market. The same as King Games. The same as King. They want to be in mobile. They bought King. There we go. It's a step into the mobile market because King's not the biggest mobile whatever, is it? It's not. It's just it's another step in, and I think they're going to try and go in gradually, and just eventually decimate. That's exactly what they're trying to do as a business.
You've got a nice base.
It's one of the biggest.
It's one of, but not the.
Yeah.
Can we have a topic next week about Paul's baseball cap?
This is pretty much my podcast cap at this point. Yeah.
I think Removable Sanity hasn't said anything for about half an hour, so maybe he can recite.
What can I add to the conversation that actually, ironically, has already been said? You know, it is as everyone says, it is a.
I was going to say,
it's one of these things. Which one? I think Josh, as animated hit the nail on the head. It's a slow progression into the areas which they've always wanted to get into. It's a slow creep. See how the market goes. See if it continues to move forward, which I think it will do. And then it'll be so. Okay, what else can we do to kind of keep pushing and pushing and pushing?
Yeah. I was going to say. What he was saying is that, look, Microsoft or whoever that company was is in the conversation, and if they ever want to put gas in the tank and hit accelerate, they can.
Yep.
Well, yeah, they've got the backing now, haven't they?
Yep. What's the phrase I've been using a lot lately? Return on investment. That's
I
what
thought it was Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
but it is though. It is. It's return on investment, isn't it?
Plug it into if they think they can take their Call of Duty and whatever and plug it into their esports thing and make money on it, they'll do it.
And I think it was. I think actually, VJ, you said this ages ago. It is more about their subscription service going to as many places as possible. The hardware is a help, but it's clearly the subscription service that is now one of their focuses. Because let's not forget they're into the the computing aspects. They've got so many hands in different pies, and ironically, the gaming division is. I don't think it's the smallest, but it isn't one of their largest pies, is it? If I remember correctly, when you look at all what they've got their hands in, it's actually one of the smaller aspects of what they deal with.
Very small.
If you look at Microsoft right now, the phase that they're in from a strategic point of view, it's solidarity, and now it's infiltration, right? And that's the phase that they're in. I don't know if they're the right words, but that's what the Kirin beer says.
I think you're right. I think they can go for it.
Infiltration is probably definitely the correct word. Yes.
See,
they're trying to get. I mean, they're not currently in. That's...
Exactly. Look at the Western market. The Eastern market. They've now got Game Pass. They did a deal with Samsung. Samsung's quite big in the Eastern market, so they've got that Game Pass now on TVs. They've now got a good indicator into the mobile market, which is again another big factor into the Eastern area. They're covering they almost look like they're covering as many bases as they possibly can to pick up the millions that is in the Eastern market, which is currently predominantly held by Sony and other particulars. So yes, they are, as you rightly said, they're slowly creeping in by any means possible. I am kind of... they are making good headway from what I'm hearing by discussing with the Eastern developers, but that's going to take a long time to foster that good will, that good rapport. It's not something that's going to be built up in a couple of years. I would say it's probably a 10-year long-term goal. You're not going to get a lot. Trust is a big thing in the Eastern market. Trust and respect, I should say. Sorry, and they're going to have to. Yeah, they're going to have to really work hard to build that trust and respect. But whilst they're doing it, they can set the framework up, set the groundwork ready to hit it up and running. And if they can, as you said, sneak in from the side and take a little bit of, cash where they can, it makes perfect sense marketing wise to do so.
It does. Based on your comments, I've got a graphic from BMG a week ago, or whatever, in a Discord. So it's gaming in the whole of Microsoft is the third smallest division. Windows is above it, but so it's 9.1% gaming is, and Office products and cloud services 6.1, and server products and cloud services 5.1. Sorry, it's fourth. There's a blue window too. Enterprise services.
Is this within the Microsoft business as a whole, right?
Yeah. This is thing they posted last year.
So as Microsoft as a whole, gaming is only 9.1% of their interest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Their biggest is which one's that? Sorry, I've got it completely wrong. Ignore what I've just said. I messed it up.
Okay.
So 5.1 is LinkedIn.
Should we start again? Hello, I am Animal.
Yes. 6.1. Sorry, 6.1 is LinkedIn, and then it's gaming at 9.1%. I messed that up. I just said that I messed that completely up there. The biggest. But
it's still one of its smallest. Yeah, everything. It's still one of its very smallest pieces of pie.
And cloud services, and then just below it is Office products and cloud services. There we go. I've got the colours right now. There we go. I messed it up in usual Stubbs style.
StubzGaming, was that prior to the Activision acquisition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
prior.
this is Microsoft revenue breakdown 2021.
Yeah, okay, so it's prior to the Activision deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'll
even with
send-
that
I'll
deal, I
send
don't
on
think it's
Twitter.
going to jump quite a large
But
amount.
I do.
Even if it's say
I do
9%, it'll
think
probably go to 10.
What would
I
be?
think eventually they will take over Windows, the Windows one.
Yeah, I think I was just going to say Stubbs and Removable is that I'd love to know what the annual growth is of the other divisions, because I think, and I may be wrong here, so don't quote me on this, is that it's in single digits, and the gaming division is what they're looking to longer term as having some the reason why they're investing so heavily into it is having exponential growth, right? So I think maybe in a year's time or 2 years time or 3 years time, I think we'll be looking at that 9.1% will definitely be in the mid to high teens. I would hazard a guess.
I think that's where they're probably looking at it, but I think that probably hinges on them getting into the Eastern market. You know, really hammering the East, really trying to get that millions and millions of people
You make a good,
to look into it.
You make an interesting observation there, Removal, because I would say instead of hammering, I think they need to caress their way into the Asian market.
This is the American. This is one of the things. This is the American studio, isn't it? They go in and not being disparaging to the Americans, but it is they are.
Please be. I have to suffer them every day.
But it is very much a. You know, we go in, we will do it our way, and as me and you kind of both know, that doesn't really work well with the Eastern characteristics. You have to be, as you said, it's much more quieter, much more slow, soft approach that breeds respect and courtesy versus and I think maybe that's one of the reasons why they haven't jumped in as maybe one of the reasons why they failed to get into the Eastern market as well as they probably have now is because they've tried that method.
Let's be honest. Slowly catch your monkey is probably the best way to do it right now. Look at the business model I've got going right now. Look at the subscription model we've got. We all do the subscriptions. We've all got Netflix and Amazon and plethora of things, and we've all got Game Pass and all that sort of stuff. Okay, but you might. Don't you get discount? Don't you get discount? I'm sorry. Anyway, by the by,
I'm supporting you. All right. You told me to sub. I'm subbing.
Yeah. For another day, right? For another day.
He stumped him.
Look at the not at all. Look at the subscription model. Okay. If you charge somebody, I say, look, for this service, I want £150. Yep. You're like, that's a bit sus. And you say to somebody, say, look, there you go, £12 a month, easy. Whether you use that service or not, you don't realise that money's going out the bank, and that's the sort of business model Microsoft's going with, even into the gaming market as well, where they're just trying to creep in, and then all of a sudden, because you don't realise, the slower you go, you don't realise that they're coming into the market. I know
what's the old phrase, isn't it? Boil a frog from slowly upwards.
Exactly.
You just drop it into a hot boiling water, it'll jump out. If you slowly ramp up the temperature, you'll never know until it's too late.
I think that's the perfect business model. It's worked for Windows, hasn't it? Now we're all subscription to 365, and
real quick, let me say something that feeds into what you just said.
Yes, go.
It came up that Microsoft is now they're going to be dropping inactive accounts.
Yeah, I heard about that today.
They announced that today. So that's going to change that model a little bit.
How long will they drop? Is that like after 20 years inactive, or is that something like 6 weeks? Have they determined?
Probably somewhere in between those two numbers. I mean, seriously. But that's going to change the way other companies do stuff too, because it's pointed out that a lot of companies get a lot of free money from people who are constantly paying for services they aren't using. It's also going to affect Microsoft, because that's going to drop I'm not saying a
whole lot of subs,
but there's going to be a percentage that's going to drop off. Let's say it's 6 months of no activity on the account. Boom. And if Microsoft's doing it, it may push the other companies to do the same, because people are going to start pressuring to do that. So that's a little, because of what you just brought up. The only reason I brought that up, and I remember seeing that earlier today.
Yeah, yeah.
Microsoft is going to start doing that.
Can I just, if does that mean it's, even if you're paying still, but you're inactive, you will get dropped?
They'll probably send you a warning to say, "Hey, are you still interested?" But yes, if you don't respond, they will drop your account, because that's helping you. You know, they're trying. In
that regards, if you've forgotten about it, or you know,
yeah.
We all get quite busy sometimes and forget about things.
Seems a bit strange, because that's
isn't it something to do with the change of UK law? I'm sure it says something about
it has to do with the UK. The article specifically talks about the UK.
Yeah.
So
the government try to be problematic.
Paul, it's your opportunity to be disparaging of your UK cousins. Go for
it.
When doesn't he? What's the difference? You know.
I have other stuff I could be doing right now. There's a group that keeps inviting me to play Among Us, and here I am talking to you dweebs. So,
it's about time we wrap the show up anyway.
I don't think I've ever been called a dweeb. I'm privileged. Really? Wow.
Give it time; it'll become thing.
I didn't think I was that smart. I really didn't. But my point was before we wrap up, Stubbs, is that the Game Pass model, sort of the subscription model, you sort of tiptoe into people's lives and say it's only going to cost you this much. It's fine. And then you forget about it. And I think that's a good approach for Microsoft as a business to get into the rest of the East anyway. It's just tiptoeing a little bit, just so they don't know they're coming in. And then all of a sudden people are thinking, oh, hang on a minute, this is a Microsoft game. Oh, well, let's see what else they've got. I think that's a good way to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
But
it is,
again, that's just my opinion.
No, very valid
I
points,
agree.
especially how they do business over there. It's very different. It is.
It actually says, just reading it says businesses will be required to highlight additional information to consumers pre-contract to give consumers a choice as to whether their subscriptions automatically renew or not, send more reminders to consumers. And more
BMG, and I think this might have something to do with phone contracts as well.
Yeah, because it's a whole thing.
Companies kept rolling people over automatically without permission. It might have to do with that as well.
Yeah, and also make it easier to cancel subscriptions as well.
Finally, something good coming out of the UK. I mean,
we try.
Someone's got to fight. Someone's got to fight for your rights.
I don't know if you got the memo. I said disparaging and disrespectful. Not being a sweetheart and throwing flowers around. And
We'll send Paul a Greg's. Don't worry, that'll soon turn him.
Actually, I've got a question for Animated Evil. I really wanted to try that game that Paul's mentioned, Among Us, and I'm gonna. Do you guys play it on Community Gaming Night?
We do. We do. Yes.
You do.
We're not having a community game like this week. We're having a weekend off.
Oh damn! I was going to come.
Of course. What a fucking coincidence, right? So Tushy's away for the weekend, and I have some personal things I have to deal with. So I'm not going to be in the frame of mind to be the nice host on Friday or Saturday, unfortunately.
He's not off harvesting pineapples in France, is he?
No, he might be. He might be. No, he's going to. He's taking the missus down to the romantic south of England.
Oh God, really?
Yeah.
Sending the bugger off back up north.
Yeah. He's taking his lovely lady out for a romantic, a dirty weekend, shall we call it? And knowing Tushy, that's going to be very dirty. However, so yeah, there's and I have some.
Mackie D's mukbang.
I have some personal things. I am seriously not going to be. I am not going to be in the right frame of mind this weekend to be nice host and stuff. So it's best to
Have a break. No, it's always good.
Yeah, absolutely.
What
Yeah.
angry host can be fun.
No.
Pissed
That's
off.
what you're there for.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm for. Yeah.
So, it's been a great show. It has.
It's gone quiet.
Great. It has. It's been a great show. Great topics, great conversation. And BaldmanGamer, thanks for stopping on tonight and being a guest.
No, thank you for having me again. It's been brilliant. Enjoyed chatting with everyone, chatting to everyone in the live chat as well. And yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Do you want to tell people where they can find you on Twitter as well?
Yeah, on Twitter, as you can guess, BaldmanGamer, Xbox gamer tag at BaldmanGamer, and on PlayStation, BaldmanGamer86. Feel free to follow. I always follow back, and always hit me up if anyone wants to play any games. Not tonight, though.
Yeah.
Still going to bed.
Yeah, definitely. Right, thanks for coming on, BaldmanGamer. And
thank
Removable, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much again for having me. And again, it's a pleasure to have BaldmanGaming on again. I'm sure we'll have him on again another time, so we can also, keep those spicy topics going. And also a good thank you to everybody, including my co-hosts again. They're always fantastic. They always provide me with the smiles. If you do want to even interact with me in any format way and play, and I can fully understand that you don't, you can find me on Minds, YouTube, Twitter, and Xbox under the name RemovableSanity.
Thanks, Removable. And VJ, thanks
Hello.
for coming on. It's been a good one.
Yeah. Sorry for speaking out of turn if I did so, or bringing the show into disrepute. I was just
No,
trying to.
you haven't.
No.
Oh, cool. It's
The
just,
show can't get any further into disrepute, dude. You're so
Maybe
right.
next week. Maybe next week. Try again next week. You'll be
I know
fine.
it's always Sony versus Microsoft, but this pizza and pineapple topic's really got up my back passage, shall we say? And the conflict, it's all this. I don't know. I sometimes defer or kind of want to stay away from podcasts because it's just sometimes the conflict and division that I see on Twitter and so on and so forth. And I often sit here wondering if we can be free of for the desire for power and stuff like that. And so then I just think we don't really, as a species, have the energy to change. And then I'm trying to find a solution to it, but the only one I can come to is don't mind what happens.
Alcohol.
It's difficult, isn't it? But Kirin beer does help, so recommend it to everybody. And I want to know more about Paul's baseball cap, so it's got to be a topic for next week.
Okay, I'll make it one. And where are we? Anime.
I'm the one who said he's got to get out of here, and you're saving me for last. This is
Cerebral
bullshit.
Paul. Thanks.
Let's go Cerebral Paul before me. Let's go Cerebral Paul first.
Real quick, you can find me on Twitter, Cerebral Paul 1, Twitch and YouTube. I stream on my channels. I've been doing a lot lately. Lately, it's been a lot of Lego, and a little bit I'll probably be streaming Among Us. And you can, of course, find me on shows almost every night of the week. Again, I'm not going to list them all here. Follow me on Twitter. You'll find out. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye.
See ya.
Anime Evil. Thanks for coming
Yes,
on.
thank you for having me. Thank you, BaldmanGamer, for bringing your shiny head across over to this poor little channel. Yes, it's been a pleasure. However, I'd like to thank the star of the show. The star of the show today, again, has been the chat. And guys, they have been brilliant. I've been engaging and everything with the chat, and it's been absolutely
100%.
amazing in there. Do you know what? Without them, there's no show. Let's be fair.
True. Very good.
Without
chat.
them,
Oh,
there's
brilliant.
nothing.
Engaging.
So you can find me. The best place to find me is on the same as Paul. I'm on too many shows. I do too many things. So animated_evil on Twitter. You will find everything I do on there. I'll keep you updated. Please follow me if you want. Whatever. Interact if you want. Maybe. Stubbs, Removable, VJ, been a pleasure again.
Thank you, sir.
Over to you,
100%.
The major question is, where can we find you, Mr. Stubbs, when you're
I'm
not bothering playing multiplayer with us and stuff? And
Or with
Yes.
yourself.
playing the gunk currently. Not at the minute. I've been playing the gunk. But yeah,
Sorry.
you can find me at StubzGaming on Twitter, on this YouTube channel. Press subscribe if you haven't. And also you can find me on the Plastic Platforms podcast channel. That's my podcast with a Centurion 1307. We do it bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks. We have 22 subscribers on that channel. And we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. You can find them on audio feeds as well. So you haven't checked that out. It's just me and him talking that podcast. There's no guests or anything. So that's what that kind of podcast is like. But it's just a bit of fun, that one. It's all fun, but it's a little venture. But yeah, and we'll be back next Wednesday, we will. So thank you, everyone. Indie Gamer, Looper for stopping by, Dreadpool, Fastback. I'm trying to go through the Luke Steele. I might not be animated. It has been in the chat.
Thank you.
Fastback, Doom Reaper. Yeah. Thanks to everyone who's stopped by. I can't remember everyone, but thanks for popping in. It's been good. And we will see you next week. Thanks, everyone.
Have fun gaming, guys.